a new day, a new blessing, a new hope. A very good day to my dear students of Standard 9 and welcome, dear Glorians, to the science class. Continuing the chapter on environmental management, today we are going to learn about harmful effects of solid waste and more about methods of disposal of waste. So let's begin. Public waste bins are filling up faster than ever, and inevitably many of the bins end up overflowing before being collected, and this causes cluttered streets and bad odors, but also affects and has an adverse impact on health and environment. So let's learn more about the harmful effects originating by wrong disposal of solid waste. First, overflowing waste brings about an ideal surrounding for breeding of pathogenic microbes, insects, and other pests that cause various diseases. Overflowing waste or garbage leads to air pollution, which causes various respiratory illness and also adversely affects other parts of the body. Garbage and liquid waste that ends up in water bodies negatively change the chemical composition of water. This leads to pollution of water. Improper disposal of waste originating from industrial or urban sources, they cause soil pollution. Impact on animals and marine life. Effects on biodiversity. Now it cannot be stressed enough how our carelessness with our waste and garbage does not just affect us, but also animals and other plants also get affected adversely, and they also suffer the effects of pollution, which is caused by improper disposal of waste and rubbish. Things like styrofoam, plastic, cigarette butts, etc. have been known to cause deaths in marine animals who consume them. Animals who consume grasses near open dumping sites and landfills are not only at risk of poisoning due to the toxins that seep into the soil, but they also consume the plastic and other materials which are hazardous and inevitably cause death of these animals. The next is bad odor and production of toxic waste. Decomposing waste emits gases that rise in the atmosphere and they trap heat. So some waste will eventually rot, but not all waste. So what happens in the process? This leads to emitting bad odor, bad smell, and that generates methane gas, which is an explosive and contributes to the greenhouse effect. Degradation of natural beauty. Landscapes can be ruined through littering and places of tourist interest can lose their attraction. Now, natural beauty is a legacy, a right for all of us and our future generations. So lastly, what do we conclude by going through all these harmful effects of the that waste has, the improper waste disposal has on our environment? That waste management and recycling collection can only conserve our planet's natural beauty, which can be flawed by thoughtless disposal of waste and senseless littering.
After knowing all these, aren't you guys wondering why we need to study or know about things which are just waste for us? This is because when left uncared, these waste accumulate and cause serious health hazards. And we all know plastic degrades very slowly, which is why it is such a big problem. Moreover, many aquatic animals like whales, seal, turtles die every year from plastic bag litters, as they often mistake plastic bags for their food. Similarly, many terrestrial animals like cows, dogs, and even many birds eat plastic from the dumping sites and ultimately leading to their death. Apart from causing these health hazards, they even add to different types of pollution like air, water, soil, etc. One such health hazard occurred long back in 1953 in a small city called Minamata in Japan, which had the region's largest fertilizer producing industry. The Minamata Bay present in that city was highly polluted with the wastewater released from fertilizer plant, which contained excessive amounts of mercury in it. The highly toxic compound bioaccumulated in fish and shellfish in the bay, which were eaten by the people living around the bay, which gave rise to Minamata disease. It is a toxic disorder of central nervous system.
So what does waste disposal mean? Waste disposal is the method that is employed to destroy or recycle unused, old or unwanted domestic, agricultural, medical or industrial waste. Now, what do all of us think? We all have seen that due to rapid population increase and overconsumption, the waste we produce becomes harder to get rid of. We tend to think that waste does not affect us. When we throw it in the dustbin, it is out of sight, and what is out of sight is out of mind, but not so much anymore. This improper disposal of waste is causing lots of adverse effects on an environment. So let's go through the different steps that need to be taken for efficient waste disposal. First, the waste has to be collected properly. Then it has to be segregated depending on whether it is recyclable, whether it's dry waste or wet waste. Then it has to be transported systematically. Certain wastes need to be treated before they are disposed of. And finally, we come to the very important aspect, that is waste disposal. So waste disposal is a technique that is utilized in a very efficient manner to dispose of the waste or garbage that is accumulated. So let's go through the various methods of waste disposal. There are many methods of waste disposal, some of which are more effective. So certain techniques are more effective than the others. They are more on the environmental friendlier side. So let's go through some of these techniques. Landfill, incineration, waste compaction, biogas generation, composting and vermicomposting. So let's go through them one by one. First, landfill. Now what happens in this process? In this process, the waste that cannot be reused or recycled are separated out and spread as a thin layer in low-lying areas across the city. A layer of soil is added after each layer of garbage. However, what is the negative part or the disadvantage of this technique? Once this process is complete, the area is declared unfit for construction of buildings. So for the next 20 years. And so what can be now made on this land is only a playground or a park. Next we come to is incineration of waste. So incineration, that is burning of waste but using a proper incinerator, is the process of controlled combustion or burning of the garbage to reduce it to incombustible matter such as ash or waste gas. Now what happens with the waste gas? The exhaust gases from this process may be toxic in nature. Hence it is treated before being released into the environment. Next is waste compaction. The waste materials such as cans and plastic bottles are compacted into blocks and then sent for recycling. Biogas generation. All the biodegradable waste, that is all the organic waste, the fruit peels, the vegetables, the dung, all this is sent to biogas plants. In these plants, what happens is these organic materials are now converted to biogas by degradation with the help of microorganisms like bacteria and fungus. And biogas generated hence can therefore be used as a good quality fuel, and the residue, that is the remaining material, can act as a nutrient rich manure to increase the fertility of the soil. The next is a very commonly practiced, and we have been practicing this technique right from you can say the olden days of agriculture. Okay, so let's bring back this technique into practice. As we know that composting is a very foolproof method and it does not harm the environment. In fact, it brings about a very positive impact on the environment. So all the organic materials, all the wet waste which we generate in our kitchens, that can be decomposed with time. And the process of composting starts with these organic waste. They are buried under layers of soil. So a pit is dug and then these are left to decay under the action of microorganisms such as bacteria and fungi. This results in the formation of nutrient-rich manure. Now another form of composting is a very specialized form of composting which is called as vermicomposting. And what happens in this process, instead of you use worms for the degradation of organic matter, and that creates nutrient rich manure. Now coming to a very important point, one common sight in all cities is the rag picker who plays an important role in the segregation of waste. On Gandhi Jayanti, that is October 2, which is also marked as Rashtriya Swachhata Divas, Amitabh Bachchan appreciates the work being done by the invisible green warriors, our rag pickers, and said that they are the real Karamcharis of Swachhata. That means they are the actual heroes of our, as trying as much as possible to create a very positive impact on our environment by helping to pick out all that can be recycled. So they need to be recognized and appreciated. They are the real heroes of our Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. And if India needs to meet its target of Clean India, then it is very important that the rag pickers are involved in a more organized way. So let's take some time to think about these unsung heroes. They carry and recycle our waste. Time to draw a little inspiration from the quote, I don't want to protect the environment, but I want to create a world, an environment where the environment doesn't need protecting. So we need to create collectively, it's a collective responsibility of each and every one of us, including me and you. Together we need to create a world where an environment is so safe that it doesn't need any protection. So with this we come to an end of today's class. Study hard, dear children, do good, and let the good life will follow. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Thank you and God bless you.